Welcome to the Crypto Teacher, and guys, you know I come back with that second video just to make you think. Now we have Coinbase's Brian Armstrong basically going after Apple again. Now we know I did a video last month as far as some advising Apple to let go some of the restrictions they have in the App Store. Now we know Andreessen just joined the board. Now we know Andreessen was the initial investor in Coinbase. Y'all know Andreessen is my guy. Please go check out my Andreessen videos because it's a much bigger picture behind him. But we know everything that they touch turn to gold. But the fact is that why is Apple so important to bringing on what Brian Armstrong always talk about is the crypto economy? Because of course it's going to bring the masses over. And what does he always say in order to get in? It helps them earn. Now what they're doing is they're using the C word. While you have, in his thread he says, while you have Americans struggling, they have the opportunity to do what? Earn crypto. So basically this is going to give people the opportunity to earn free money, guys. And we know nothing's free. Yes, we know this. And just like I said, don't forget to check out my Andreessen videos. Very powerful. But the fact is, guys, they're trying to onboard the masses. Remember, guys, sit at the table with the New World Order. Sit at the table with them. You can't think like the masses. How do I get everybody over without them understanding that they're getting over? And how is the phone? And especially if they can sit at home and just earn free money. This is nothing but a starter to what? Universal basic income. But y'all enjoy the video. Have a great day.
External audience. We're going to talk about just what we want to create in the world with this company, how we're actually going to get there, what are all the steps through these three sections. Okay, so I want to introduce you to this term, economic freedom. Economic freedom is something that a bunch of organizations out there, they try to measure about all the countries of the world, and they kind of rank them and they score them. And economic freedom measures a whole bunch of things. One of them is property rights, which is this idea that if you own something, can it be taken away from you without your permission? It also looks at how easy it is to send money and goods and services internationally. It checks, if you want to start a business, is there a lot of bureaucracy and paperwork, or do you have to bribe somebody to get a license or something like that, or can you just do it in a few days? It also looks at the inflation rate in countries. Some of you might have seen countries like Venezuela are going through hyperinflation, and people's wealth, especially the poorest people, tends to be eroded by inflation. It checks if you want to start a business or work at a business, how able to do that are you? And it even looks at things like corruption. Are people having to pay bribes to get things done? And so economic freedom is this really broad term. People tend to think of it as it's sort of a measure of can you make money or what's the growth rate of the economy. And that's part of it, but it actually affects all sorts of things in these countries. And it's positively correlated with some things that you maybe wouldn't think of, like the income of the poorest people or how well the environment is treated. Even self-reported happiness, right? And it's negatively correlated with these things that we don't want less of, like corruption and even war. So you can see economic freedom in these countries. Again, here's Cuba. This was 60 years ago, and here it is in modern day, and it looks relatively the same. But by contrast, if you look at a country like Singapore, one of the highest economic freedom countries, 60 years ago it was this swampland, and now it's this bustling metropolis. And you can even see economic freedom from outer space. So this is North and South Korea. These two places have roughly the same natural resources and geography and everything. But it's just their difference in economic policies have created these dramatically different outcomes. And so economic freedom is getting better in the world very slowly. So over the last 25 years or so, it's gone up about 3 percentage points by this metric. But the vision for Coinbase is that we can actually change bend this curve and materially change the economic freedom of the entire world by what we're going to build. And that's what we're going to talk about next. So that's really the vision for Coinbase is creating more economic freedom for every person and business in the world over the next 10 years. All right, so what are we going to do to actually make that happen? Well, what we're going to do is create what we call the open financial system, which just means that we're going to use cryptocurrency and the smartphone revolution, things like that, to actually inject economic freedom into these countries all over the world. And it might not be immediately obvious to people. I know it wasn't for me. Why does cryptocurrency actually enable more economic freedom in the world? And if you go back to those things I mentioned at the beginning, some of the things that economic freedom measures, if you look at property rights, well, cryptocurrency actually is a great way to give people wealth that can't be taken away from them. There's user-controlled wallets, even these things called brain wallets, and even if you use the hosted wallets on Coinbase, oftentimes people still have much better property rights than they do in their home countries. In terms of free trade, well, cryptocurrency is inherently global. It works everywhere in the world. In terms of easier ways to start a business, cryptocurrency is democratizing the way that companies raise money, and you can accept payments globally from day one. Cryptocurrency is now even helping fight inflation. So stable coins are being sent into places like Venezuela. And people are able to start the companies that they want to start and work at them with smart contracts. Even corruption is being affected by cryptocurrency because there's also organizations where you want to have the entire thing be done out in the open, a public ledger, so that anybody can audit it to see where every payment's going. So cryptocurrency is a huge enabler of economic freedom, and it's also this other trend that's happening, which is the growth of smartphones. So increasingly, even the poorest people in the world have access to the internet and smartphones, and they can now have a bank in their pocket. That's really the opportunity. That's the secret that Coinbase is founded on, the belief that right now, at this moment in history, because cryptocurrency got invented and everybody in the world can have access to a smartphone, we can inject economic freedom really into all these countries around the world. So that's what we're actually building to make this vision a reality. We're going to help create that open financial system for the world. And I just want to go through the strategy now, because let's break that down. That's a pretty high-level goal. There's really a few ways that we're going to make that happen. So if you want to create a new economy, an alternative economy that is more fair, it's more free, it's more efficient, it's open to everybody, the first thing you need to do is just help millions and millions of people in the world get access to cryptocurrency and just store it securely. And then we need to start to be able to enable people to use it and also to earn it, because not everybody has disposable income to actually invest in cryptocurrency. They might need to earn it by doing a job or completing a task. And lastly, we need 1,000 companies to get built that start to accept cryptocurrency and use it for a true economy to be built, because an economy is made up of thousands and millions of participants, not just one company like Coinbase. And so this ties into the 3 pillars of our strategy, which we call enable crypto investing, connect the crypto economy, and then grow the crypto economy. So I'm going to touch on each of these just briefly. All right, so enable crypto investing. Still today, the primary way that people get into cryptocurrency, many of you in the audience, this is probably true for you, is someone told you about it and you decide to buy a little bit as an investment. And so most of the money in the world is tied up in fiat currencies, and one of our major roles at Coinbase is we're providing this very reliable, trusted, safe bridge between the traditional financial system and the crypto economy, so that a lot of the wealth that's tied up in the world can move into cryptocurrency. So that means we're a brokerage, we're an exchange, we're a custodian. Those are 3 of the businesses, products that we've built that have done really well, and those are kind of like a foundation for this economy, necessary infrastructure, if you will. And to make those successful over the coming 3, 5, and 10 years, we have a lot of work to do. I mean, we need to keep adding more and more assets to the platforms that our customers want to trade. There's going to be millions of these tokens out there as companies start to issue them to raise money and all kinds of things. We need to keep launching our products in more and more countries. So we're in about 100 countries today, but not with full functionality. And every country in the world needs a reliable bridge between fiat and crypto. We also just need to keep making cryptocurrency apps easier to use. It's still way too complicated if we're going to get to be 1 billion people using cryptocurrency. These little concepts like a private key or you're sending to an address, we need to keep making these easier and easier. So this is the first step, enabling crypto investing. Investing is really a solo activity. People buy it and they come back and they check their balance a couple times a month, or they might trade a little bit more. But an economy is not just about one person or each of these people in a silo. We need to start to connect them together. And that's what we mean by this second phase. It's actually taking the variety of products and services that Coinbase offers and beginning to connect them into that that primary account where so many people today are holding their cryptocurrency. So we call this kind of an economic graph. It's sort of like a social graph, but instead of there being people sending messages and likes and things like that, there's people and companies, and the edges between them are, things like send and receive, buy and sell. And we're adding new economic actions all the time, like borrow and lend, or spend and pay. So we've launched some products that help this start to happen. One of them is called Coinbase Earn. It allows people to actually earn cryptocurrency by completing small tasks, maybe in the future even getting a job that pays in cryptocurrency. And we also launched something called staking, which is a way for people to earn more cryptocurrency on their assets. With Coinbase Commerce, we've started to enable spending of crypto, whether it's at a point of sale here or it's online. We even launched a Coinbase debit card in the UK. So we're using that to kind of help people spend the crypto in their primary account. And on Coinbase Pro, we've enabled people to start to borrow and lend, or we will in the near future, which is another important action in any economy. You want people to be able to borrow and invest that way.